Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Today we have an awesome opportunity to drive 4 new 2021 Porsche Boxsters on some of the most beautiful roads that the United States has to offer out here around Malibu, California. We're going to be doing the trim walk starting from the Boxster T. Unfortunately, we're skipping the S, no 2.5 liters here, but we're jumping right up to the GTS 4 liter. Then we've got the special Boxster 25th anniversary model based off that GTS 4 liter. Then capping off the day with the 718 Spyder. It's gonna be awesome, and I can't wait to have you all along with me. Starting right off here, the Boxster T. This is based off of the base Boxster motor, but with the chassis and performance in that realm of the GTS 4 liter. So you've got a little bit of lowered suspension, you've got some of the more aggressive bits of the GTS from the driving perspective, but just the 2-liter turbocharged flat 4 making 300 horsepower. And it's made to be a little lightweight as well. So if you take a look inside, you see you actually have little pulls here for the handle and a short throw manual shifter, which is absolutely how this car should be enjoyed. Let's fire it up. Guys, I am so excited. Let's hit the road. Got some little earmuffs for you so that you should be able to enjoy the sound of this thing even with the top down, because a day like today, it's got to be top down. There's no other way to do it. For those of you who don't know, I was a Boxster owner for just about 3 years, just over 3 years, and the car holds a special place in my heart as being one of the best cars there is to drive. There's just no way around that. Yes, the 911's a little bit more luxurious, often packs more power, but from a pure driving perspective, the Boxster's just the way to go. It's mid-engine rather than rear-engine, best transmission, top down as it should be. I know a lot of sports boys like the Caymans, but I like having the top down for that raw experience. Speaking of raw experience, we're gonna start right here with this tunnel. Listen to this little Turbo 4 make some noise. Porsche's been coming out with these T models here for a few years now, and they're supposed to be more of the raw driver's car. The 911 T is based off of more of the base 911 as well, and it's also a little bit more lightweight. It's focused more on driving feel and enjoyment rather than outright power or luxury, anything that's going to weigh the car down and potentially detract from the driving experience. But the T models, the steering and the shifter, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm not even in Sport Plus. There we go, more Sport. Yes. There's going to be a good amount of video today that's just driving. I'm not going to be talking. I just want you to hear and feel and experience these cars and what they have to offer. If you're not, consider wearing headphones, because then you'll be able to hear right what I'm hearing in my earmuffs. Fourth gear yet. Oh my gosh, the shifter, they've done a really good job with the short throw shifter. I've spent a good amount of time in the 718 Boxster S with a manual, and the normal shifter feels, it's good, it's a little floppy feeling going into certain gears. This short throw shifter, that's not the case. It's much more solid. I will say, for as capable as these powertrains are, I'm still not a big fan of the way the base Boxster builds power, especially when you're doing these sort of roads. I don't like the way the turbo has to come online. It just doesn't feel natural for this sort of car. But that's why I'm glad we're starting with this powertrain and then moving up to the flat 6 after this. I think it's going to be just what the doctor ordered. Rolling out here on the Pacific Coast Highway. Really doesn't get much better than this, ladies and gentlemen. Top down in the Porsche Boxster, cruising along, beautiful 70-degree day. Better slow down here so I don't get pulled over and make it a not beautiful day. What a view, what a car. We're gonna head back here now and pick up the GTS 4-liter. Should be a nice, pleasant step up from this. Not that this needs much improvement, but getting a flat 6 under our butts should really make for a wonderful experience. So let's hop to that. Now we're talking. This is the Boxster GTS 4.0, and coming in at exactly $100,000 flat after destination. This is where the Boxster really starts to get exciting. Slap a 4-liter flat 6 motor in here with this exhaust, and oh my gosh, does this thing put your hair on ends. I've driven it about 1.3 miles, but we're gonna go have a lot more fun. This is actually green, believe it or not. It's a very, very subtle green. It pretty much looks gray, but I promise you they call it green. In fact, what's the name of it right here? Adventure Green Metallic for $650. But look at this, 100,000 spot on the nose. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So the purest definition of a 6-figure car. Already. That is where we ought to be. Don't get me wrong, that Boxster T was fun, and in that last section I was hustling it around, and it's certainly the purest Porsche. And if you're going to be tracking it a lot and you want to save some money, that might be the way to go. But the way I see it is, once you're already spending big bucks to get into a Porsche, you really ought to just step up to this GTS. I mean, the experience is so much more proper. And of course, starting it off right with the tunnel. Like most Boxster 6s, you don't really hear too much until you really lean on it. Ready? Difference between this motor and the motor that goes in the Spyder, the 718 Spyder, it's just a higher red line. The Spyder has a higher red line. This one, red line hits, looks like 7,800. So the Spyder must have an 8,000 RPM red line. gosh, that sound is so good. What I want them to make is almost a Boxster T, but just with this motor. Give me this motor as cheap as possible. And I don't need the power seats. I don't need the Alcantara steering wheel. I just want this level of power, this sound, and this chassis. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, this is motoring perfection. I will say the shifter was better in the Boxster T. That short throw is absolutely the way to go for a 718. This right here, you can even just see it wiggling around. It's I suppose maybe a little bit better for daily driving, but I really don't see why they don't just put that short throw in every car. I mean, it's definitely not bad. It goes right into place. There's a little bit more wiggle. It's a longer throw. Also, the ride is better on this one. We got it in Sport Plus. I was getting bounced all around in Sport Plus mode in the Boxster T. It sounds like my car down low, the induction noise. Sounds like my old 986S right there. But then at about 5,000 RPM, and I don't know if it's the sport exhaust or just the character of the engine, there's a howling that my car did not have. And the engine's so smooth, even cruising around at 4,000 or 5,000 RPM, it's happy to do it. It doesn't feel taxed or worked or strained be that high up in revs. So you really can just cruise around 5,000-6,000, not be rigging it out. Let's go, boys. That is a good amount of power right there. It's just enough to be exciting, but not so much that you can't really enjoy it. And it's right there. You don't have to wait for the turbo to kick in. Oh, yes. Red line is too low. I don't know. There's something about the sound the engine's making. I almost wish it were a little bit higher pitched. Oh man. Yeah, the ride on this one is really good. Impressed. I didn't realize how stiff the T was until driving this. Proper amount of rev hang. It's just right for when you want to shift gears. Alright, we seem to finally be getting slowed down here. So I think that's the proper time to wrap up the thoughts on the GTS. This one is probably the way you should go if you're the casual enthusiast looking to get a Boxster. It's certainly more expensive. We're talking about 30 more grand than the T that I was driving. And I'm not exactly one to put myself in the shoes of the Spyder, but I think it's worth stepping up. It's really more of an experience. If you are a true hardcore, you just want to drive the car, the T will do you fine. But if you want to enjoy the experience of driving the car, if you're going to be driving on beautiful mountain roads like this, weekend type driver, not really so much on the track, you're not really going for lap times or performance figures, you're going for the overall experience and that kind of lifestyle element, improving your life, I should say. If you're trying to improve your life the most, pony up, figure out a way to do it, sell a kidney or something, and get yourself into the GTS. But we've got 2 more to drive, the 25th anniversary model, and then the King Boxster, the 718 Spyder. So let's move on. There's actually a little bit of shuffling around, and we are stepping right up to top dog Boxster now, the 718 Spyder. I've actually never seen one in blue like this. I've only seen them in the classic white with the red interior, but oh my goodness, is this a sexy car. It's by and far the best looking Boxster they make, and I absolutely love this color. It's very similar to the blue that I had on my 986S, and this also is featuring the PDK automatic transmission, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I do. I've only driven it about another mile again getting down here, but I've always known that Porsche PDKs are good, but I didn't think it would make sense in a Boxster, and actually I do think there's an argument to be made for it. So let's go. I'm excited. 414 horsepower coming from this 4-liter, and I can already tell you the red line is at the proper place. It's almost as if they made this engine and then then they're like, well, let's make the GTS just a little bit too low on red lines so that people feel bad that they didn't get the Spyder. Right. Everything feels better in the Spyder. The steering is exactly how it should be. The car feels more ready to go, more light on its feet. Let's go into the stiffer suspension mode. This might be one of the best cars I've ever driven. It is nice being able to still use that center shifter if you'd like. And of course the paddle shifters work excellently. Light in your fingers, just enough heft to feel substantial. This is the dream, ladies and gentlemen. This is motoring perfection. This should be prescribed as antidepressants. Although on the flip side, I suppose killing yourself would be much easier up here. This is the best top-down driving experience you can have. I don't understand how it could get any better than this. Yeah, too bad, Mr. C5. Boxster friends. PDK Sport, it seems to be holding gear really well. Pretty happy with that. Let's take it out of that, I assume. There we go. There's some upshifts. Good opportunity to keep this on the tarmac for our wrap up here. What an absolute treat this has been. I remember the Boxster Spyder, or rather the 718 Spyder, being released, what was it, about 2 years ago, and seeing the first drive reviews come out and thinking, I mean, that's it. How does it get any better than this? And now, having driven one, I can tell you it really doesn't. Here on the new car market, if you want the pinnacle of top-down driving experience, and what I mean by that is it's just enjoying driving the car and being part of it. 718 Spyder, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been an absolute joy. Thank you so much to Porsche for bringing me out here, letting us experience this. Hope you all enjoyed at least a smidgen as much as I did, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on. Just kidding, one last surprise, the Boxster 25. The whole reason we're out here, because it is the 25th anniversary of the Porsche Boxster, the car that saved Porsche. Let's hop in. Before we do, notice the silver on red, representative of the very first US delivered car of the Boxster that Porsche made back in '97, and kind of these cool wheels and accents in this goldish anodized color that represent the original 1993 concept vehicle premiered at the Detroit Auto Show. Despite being fairly mechanically similar to the GTS 4.0, this one seems to be just that much better to drive. It's a mixture of the short throw shifter, the steering wheel. I actually like being in leather. It works really well for this car. A little bit toasty, and this car sounds so good with the top up as well that we're gonna do this little bit of a drive with the top up. It's Friday afternoon. It's a beautiful sunny day, and we are in a Boxster 25. Life is good. I found out after talking to the Porsche reps that the Spyder doesn't actually have a different steering rack, but I forgot it does have a different front end, front suspension geometry. It actually came out of the 991 911 GT3, so that's why it feels just that much better and just that much more communicative because of its origin. A little bit more motorsport, as they put it. But this Boxster 25 actually feels really, really good as well. I think it's just subtle differences between this and standard GTS 4.0, but it comes together for a really good package. Listening to that noise all day, and I can tell you that it does not get old. Priuses really ought to be banned from some of these roads. Actually, that Prius, I take it back. That was very nice of them. I did not expect that. Look at this view as we come up here. Stunning. This seems like just the right spot to stop and soak it in. Thank you all so much for supporting Daily Motor. For all of you who tune in and week out, day in and day out, watching all the silly things we do. Sometimes informative, sometimes just fun. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. And I know that sounds generic and kind of what you hear from a lot of different YouTubers, but it's true. It really is. All of you supporters, from Right Lane Hog to Moran Samadi to Yas and Joe Finley, everyone there, all of our members, everyone who tunes in for the live drives, Pittsburgh Man, and then of course everyone from Alyssa to the Topher, Chris Brower, Nathan, everyone who makes it possible to do amazing things like this. I mean, looking out at this view and out at this car that means a lot to me, being a previous Boxster owner and a general Porsche fanboy, if you will. I mean, it's hard not to be when they make cars this amazing. thank you all so much for watching. Today has been a real treat, and I hope you enjoyed it, even a smidgen as much as I did. And of course, we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.